I want to share some things, and at the end of this, it's up to you as an individual whether or not you want to set your child up for success or for failure. Understanding you're in a specific environment that doesn't cater to you as a black person. And so, we had a teaching a while back in the church. And the teaching said was, what's in a name? What's in a name? And the reason that teaching was so profound, because of course we related it to the name of Jesus and the power associated with the name of Jesus. But there is power in names, what we name our children, and even what we call ourselves. I'm going to talk briefly about this. It says, should parents give their children distinctively black names? It says, one day in October of 2013, 19-year-old Keisha Austin and her mother went before a judge in Johnson County, Missouri, paid a $175 fee, then returned home as Callie Austin. Keisha Austin had asked her mother to give her an early Christmas gift, a new name. Give her an early Christmas gift. This was in October of 2013. She wanted a new name. After an anguished discussion, Christy Austin reluctantly gave her child what she pleaded for. So the mother name was Christy, but she named her Keisha. And Keisha is not a bad name, but it is a name that's associated with black people. And the question, should parents give their children distinctively black names? And I'm going somewhere with this. After 19 years of being known as Keisha, the younger Austin decided that the burden of having a black-sounding name was more than she could bear. Growing up in a most white environment, Keisha had been subjected all her life to taunts, jokes, and bullying based on her name. There is something to naming the children with some of these off-color names. Dontavius, Jaquavius, Lakeisha, even Jamal. These off-colored names. It might be good if you're in a neighborhood, in a specific predominantly black community and neighborhood. It might be, but unfortunately, we want our children to supersede where we are and go out beyond the neighborhood. We're gonna work in corporate America, or we're gonna work for the federal government, or we're gonna work for different entities. Having those names is more of a hindrance than it is a help. I sat on an interview board, and I'll share this, because I can't share too much. I'll share this. In the room, see, sometimes we need to have the opportunity to sit on interview boards where we are interviewing people. And we sit with other people that don't look like us, that's also interviewing people. And sometimes we need to see how their response is when they read the name of the applicant that is seeking a job. And I'll tell you, we had a James, we had a Thomas, we had an Anthony, we had Isaac. All those are good names. But you sprinkle in a couple of Jaquavius and Dontavius, they may not even hit the resume interview board. And they might be the best applicants. But because what's in a name, the name becomes a hindrance. And we say, well, it's not fair. Well, let me ask this question. What country are we living in? What country have we lived in all our life? Let's understand our environment, what we live in, and what we're going to have to work with. And I'm not talking about, there are a lot of successful people with those type of names that they go on to be great athletes and some entertainers and so forth and so on. But they have special talents. They are the talented 10th. But those of us that are in the regular 90, W.E.B. Du Bois talked about the talented 10th. But then there's a regular 90. Those of us in the regular 90 that depend on different entities like corporations or the government or whatever, where we can get jobs and have careers. We want to make sure our name don't disqualify us. Amen. We want to make sure our name don't hurt us, because we can have the talent and the skill. But if people have prejudice against your name, and you say, well, that ain't right, right, it's not about right or wrong. It's about what it is. I sat on the board today. It's not about right or wrong. I'm sorry, it's not about that. Because 2 people that we talked to that was interviewed were black and 2 were white. But the black folks hear regular, what we consider Americana names. And the ones that probably didn't make it was the Dontavius and the Jaquavius. They didn't even make the interview. Now, I can't say it's unfair, because we had 2 black candidates. And actually, one of the black candidates might end up getting a job. But Dontavius and Jaquavius may have been better workers or better suited, but we won't never know. And you say, well, it's not fair, that's not right. Well, if you can only interview 4, and all of them are really close, but you look at the name, and I'm not talking about me. I'm talking because it's not just me on the board. It's not just me looking at the resumes. There's others. I have a vote. I have a voice. But sometimes the name is a roadblock. We must, let me share this with people that look like me. We must set our kids up for success by naming them with something that can assimilate into the greater society if we want our children to have success, because we know what we're up against. Either you have to be twice as good or work twice as hard, or both. We know that. And this is not a racial thing. This is where we are. This is where we live in. We got to start living where we live in. And stop dreaming that we living in this utopia where everything's fair. That's not the way it is. And sometimes God allows certain people like myself to see things, to go out there and share with things. Remember, God sent prophets to warn the people. He sent prophets so that people may change their behavior and that they may prosper.